Hi, everybody. Welcome back. We are here for another one of your questions about work. This is day 280 of This Is Not Advice. And as we've mentioned a few times in the past few days, we're now doing the live shows a little bit less frequently since we've filled out a lot of content. And you can find a repository of the past questions in this comprehensive guide to how to work now at thisisnotadvice.work. And feel free to show up. You can propose edits if you want to get into GitHub and do that. You can suggest other questions. You can see all the past ones and some of the ones we've written up. But so today for our question, we've got my coworker, Sydney, and we live this live because I just came back from a couple weeks away. And we've talked before about what to do while your boss is away. But the question now is, how do you prepare your boss for their return? So they come back, what kinds of things can you do to set them up? And I'm super grateful to even have that kind of support. And so Sydney, what do you think?
Thanks so much, Roy. So the most important thing to know first is, know the person that you are serving. And so the other important piece of it is to acknowledge that not everything has to be answered the first day that they get back. And while there's going to be a lot of catch up that day from the weeks in the past, in this case, you took the Christmas vacation off. And at the same time, there will be more information coming in that day on that Monday, which was January 3rd. So that's a big day for everyone to come back. And so from this piece of it, I think there's really 5 steps that I considered for you, right? So the first piece was framing and deciding, okay, what is it that Roy actually wants to get to right away? And of course, the answer for us is always founders and their requests. So those are going to be the first thing that I want you to see when you come back on January 3rd. After that, it really comes into incorporating labels into the inbox, or at least that's how I did it for you. The labels that I usually choose have to do with today, act now, read through, would archive, visibility, would archive, or personal. And throughout those labels, we organize them so that anything that has to be answered on the first day, or that is very, very urgent and important, is underneath that label. That way, when you return back to office, you can get into your label inbox and see exactly which ones you need to answer first. After that, it would be the act nows, which have to do more with like internal operations, things that are really urgent, or really important, but not necessarily urgent. And with that type of framing, the last step to give a full transparency to this is creating a running index while you were away. And so while we were navigating what the inbox could look like, that piece of it has to really have an understanding of not so much the todays or the act nows, but what the framing is for each of those relationships. So is it a personal relationship? Is it a business relationship? Is it something legal that needs to be taken care of? That way, when you were able to return back to us, you could look at what was going on. And if I misjudged something that needed to be handled that day, you were able to check it. And I think that's a really important piece of it as well, is that you coming back after a vacation and someone supporting the team and their boss and coming back from a vacation really has to be whole encompassing, and you have to be able to determine where I maybe don't know you 100%. And setting up those types of checks and balances can help the team be more effective and efficient as a whole the first week everyone's back.
I love that. And so, what I took from that is that empathy with the person who you are working for and trying to have mind meld with them of how will they perceive it when they come back. In our case, I live a very email centric professional existence. And so you were focused on categorizing the emails, framing them so I knew who to respond to. And then what I noticed is also just metering. Like, you didn't give me everything all at once. You gave me at first the stuff that I needed in the beginning, with an ability to look through that whole running index in case there was something I was like, wait, what about this thing? But where there was a default, which was really useful, was here's the stuff to tackle first. And then, one thing I just add is there's huge value in just expressing the intention of trying to support the person before they go away and when they come back. And, and as a result, ending up with an open dialogue about what would work. And I'd say your role is in part to make me more effective, is different than if you were running a business unit and I was the CEO and I was the boss coming back. But the principle is still the same, which is empathize with what they might want to know, meter the stuff, categorize it and prioritize it. And that to me works fabulously well. So honestly, I think I have very little to add to this one. Thank you, Sydney.
Of
And so
course.
for
No, I'm
everybody who's
glad
paying
to
attention,
hear.
the reason we call it This Is Not Advice, if you're still with us, is because we're not trying to tell you this is how you should do it. We're giving you our way of thinking about it, and then you've got to decide for yourself and apply it. And like I said, you can find the compendium of all of the other questions that we've done, including some that we've edited now so that you can scan through and see links out to other resources, because our idea, again, is not for us to know how work ought to function. It's for us to be able to convene people who know how work works, share their wisdom with you, have it accessible to you and edited by you, and then go from there. So that's what I got. To be continued. Thank you, Sydney.
Thank you.